Good morning, trustees, administration, faculty, staff, families, friends, and graduates. And with all due respect to the family, friends, and faculty here today who supported these bright minds in pursuing their dreams, today it's all about them, you guys, the graduates. Yes, you can walk on the grass. I feel so privileged to be here with you today. So much of my career, my overall psyche has been shaped on the lessons learned here at Springfield College and the wisdom of the connection between the spirit, mind, and body. I think the most personal gift I can give you today is to share with you some of the things I've learned in business and in life, and how I've taken the theory and philosophy of Humanics and that curriculum and applied it through lots of failures and through some victories with hope that it might help and inspire you to define your own unique path. So I'm in the risk-bearing business, meaning for me to find value, I need to take calculated risks. When I typically take a risk, I make sure I have a clear vision of output, measurements to see if I'm moving towards that output, and plans to mitigate unfavorable or unintended outcomes. But first, I reflect on who might benefit or potentially be harmed on the risk. I call that the pebble in the pond. Those that are impacted most by the first ripple of that pond. And I want to test that framework right now, that risk-taking framework. I want to take a risk. And before I take a risk, I want to take it with that audience. 626 degrees, Mary Beth just said, we're conferring. So I want those degree graduates to decide for me. I have a wonderful speech that I could continue reading right here, and you're not going to miss an ounce of wisdom, or I could step away from this podium right now. In my unstructured remarks, just speak from my heart. And so right now, I want to take that vote. First vote of you, only you, the graduates, the 626. How many want me to continue reading the speech? A show of hands. One. That's courage. That's courage. Okay. Let's get this. Unstructured, untethered, here with you today. First thing I want to do is talk to you about nervousness. I'm feeling nervous right now. My notes and my comfort was right there. So there's one technique that I'm going to give you in life that you're going to practice every day. How to breathe. Simply how to breathe. And so when your mind is taken off on you, you're nervous, you're worried, you know always at night, when your mind is working, things are a little bit worse than what they are. Right? When you're sleeping, when you wake back up, they're not as bad. And so breathing, I'm a little bit of a mathematical nerd. We're going to do this concept called over-indexing. Over-indexing is when we take one variable, we multiply it over another variable. And so with breathing, every time we inhale, our heart rate increases. When we exhale, our heart rate decreases. And so an exercise that I do almost every day is inhale 4 seconds, exhale 8 seconds. I'm over-indexing on my exhale. So together we are going to do the largest mindfulness exercise in Western Massachusetts today. Let's do it with me. We're going to inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for 8. We're going to do 3 together. Let's go. Inhale. Through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Breathing. Breathing boosts the immune system, slows your heart rate, calms the mind. The mind, one of the 3 pinnacles of spirit, mind, and body. As I've thought about the mind throughout my career, how I've gone through personal development, and how I've assessed others, it's simply in 2 fashions. Cognitively and emotionally. Cognitively, can you solve problems? Do you have hypothesis Do you have strategy and vision around where the future could go? Can you write well? Can you communicate well? In this world where data is incredibly pervasive, complexity exists everywhere. Can you create simplicity from that sophistication and complexity? And I believe that can continually be taught. That is not an innate skill set. You have all learned it, you 626. You've embraced education, embraced frameworks that can make you better cognitively. Emotionally, I bring it down to one item: ego. A managed ego will help you be successful in life. An ego that's out of control will harm and hinder so many of your relationships. So think about the most difficult exercise you have is your own self-awareness. Most difficult exercise you will have. How many of you have heard your voice on a recording? Right? When you hear that, what do you say? That's not me. That's one variable, your voice. That's not your gesticulations. It's not your facial language. It's not your communication. If you had a camera over you seeing all the other variables other than just your voice, you'd wonder, who is that person? So having awareness emotionally of who you are, incredibly difficult. So there's practices for that, and it's called a best friend. It's called a mentor. Someone that can help you and you can be vulnerable with and ask them, was I effective in that session? Was I effective in that community, in that business meeting? But be vulnerable and make sure you recognize you don't need to be perfect. Your ego will take over for someone who you truly aren't. The mind. The body. 20% of the jobs in America are inactive jobs today. That was 80% 50 years ago. You graduate degrees, less than 1% of you will be working a physical active job. That combined with per week as Americans, we consume 23.6 hours of internet content per week. This creates a very inactive body. This cavity that we carry, our spirit and our mind with, continues to need to be nurtured with nutrition, with activity. Find something bigger than yourself as you take a walk. Take a walk down a path that you haven't been. In a forest, see an ocean. But connect with something bigger than yourself and keep this body fit, as it will nurture and hold that spirit and mind. And we land with spirit. Spirit for me is about commitment, zeal, enthusiasm. Do you come to work? Do you come to your community with a level of eagerness to help others be better? If you're driving to your job slower than you're driving home, get another job. It's as simple as that. Over-indexing. You've got to love what you're doing, and that will drive your overall productivity. Spirit, mind, and body. Humanics, leadership and service to others. There's a disturbing study that's getting a lot of attention right now, and it's by McKinsey, a global consultant firm. And it basically said we have 166 million Americans in the labor force right now, and 53 million of them are going to be displaced in the next 10 years. Displaced with artificial intelligence, displaced with cognitive computing, displaced with technology. That's a little scary once you guys all invested in your graduate degrees. I get that, right? But there's two factors I'd tell you that will appease you. One is there's always been displacement of workers. Technology and productivity should be embraced. In 1950, 80.4% of our jobs in America were either in manufacturing or agriculture. 1978, that number went down to 24%. Today, that number is 9.4%. The jobs have shifted. We're feeding more people because we got more productive in manufacturing and agriculture. So one, don't fear. Two, I want you to know that where are those jobs going to go? There's a small little company in California. I don't know if you've heard of them. Their name is Google. Not just a noun, it's a verb now. We Google everything. Google opened market capitalization on Friday around a $755 billion company. And this is a company that is 20 years old. 10 years ago, Google would only hire professionals in the science, the technology, the engineering, and the mathematics field. STEM skills and only STEM skills. Well, Google in the last 5 years had 2 projects, one called Aristotle, one called Oxygen. And what they did is they mined their data. They mined their data of the best performing teams, the best performing individuals, facts, evidence around where performance and success was inside Google, as you would think it was a data company. As it found out, the number eight reason why an individual was successful was because of their STEM background. 1 to 7 was all about the philosophy of Humanics. How well did they communicate? How well did they inspire others? How well did they work in teams? The list went on and on until you got to number 8. Google now has changed their entire recruiting process. The recruiting process is focused on the liberal arts. It's focused on the humanics. You hear terms like wellness, mindfulness, humanics. That's fashionable right now. It's who we are. It's what this school has been built on. And you guys understand that. This amazing faculty shares that curriculum every day. You amazing graduates not only were trained in it, but you gravitated to it. You understand that. You are so well equipped to compete in this new society. This new society that will get more and more automated. And the remaining jobs are going to be the jobs that require humans to make other humans better humans. Those are going to be the valuable jobs, the things the computer cannot do. So I encourage you, step away from the podium. Take a risk. Take a risk with the desired outcome. Have controls and management information in front of you so you can understand where your favorable and unintended favorable are. Be non-judgmental. Imagine a world where we could only judge product, process, and not people. The world is yours to conquer. The Humanics philosophy and leadership and service to others is behind you. And don't forget one thing when you do that. Just breathe. Congratulations, class of 2018.